Greetings, everyone. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday. Hey, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time answering a question via video because of the seriousness of the question. And not only that, but I'll save a little bit of time. It's a long thing to write. I could actually fill about 2 or 3 chapters of a book. But the topic I want to cover today is your dog is growling at you. What do you do about it? Do you ignore it? Do you nip it in the bud? Do you correct it? What should you do? Because that is the question that we're receiving from a few of our members in our virtual group. There you go. Our puppy dog program, our basic program, 14-day challenge, and our advanced program, our virtual group that's out there in the world. And I just want to spend a little time answering this question. Well, first of all, just let me say this. Anytime your dog growls at you, it's never a good thing. It never is. And I always stop and ask people, how did you feel about that? First of all, what did you see and hear? Ah, it's my dog. My dog growled at me. And what story did you tell yourself? Well, my dog growled at me because it thinks it's the boss of me. And how'd that make you feel? Frustrated, really frustrated. And when you're frustrated, what action did you take? Well, I corrected the darn dog, by golly. I show him who's boss around this household. You know, and I kind of get all of that because when you own a dog and you spend all the time and effort training the dog, feeding the dog, caring for the dog, the last thing you want is for the dog to now growl at you. You think, come on, man, harbor a little appreciation here. I mean, have you seen the price of dog food lately? Did you see what that last vet bill was that I had to pay for you? A sense of appreciation. It's what we expect from other people that we do favors for, that we care for. We want that in return. But again, you're dealing with an animal with fang and claw. An animal governed by a different set of rules than we're governed by. And I tell you, you just always have to take that into account. So before I get right into this, let me just kind of explain a few things. First of all, what is a growl? What does it mean when your dog is growling? First of all, growling is a form of display. And if you go back to the 365, I did several videos on this. In fact, one of the videos was titled Game Theory. So just go into Game Theory on my YouTube channel, type in there on our search query, type in Game Theory, and you'll get that video. But in Game Theory, we learned that it's actually to the advantage of dogs to use aggression under certain conditions, especially if I want to defend something or I want to acquire something. So growling is a form of display. There's strategies that your dogs can use anytime, again, that I want to defend something, I want to acquire something. What strategies are available to your dog? One, I can either use the hawk strategy. And under the hawk strategy, I can either choose to attack you, full-on attack, I mean full frontal attack. Or I can choose to use an inhibited attack. It's kind of like just pushing you away from me, just touching you. That's one of those where most people will describe it as, well, the dog didn't break the skin. I just kind of tore my pants or just kind of latched onto me for a second. Then there's the dove strategy. The dove strategy, what do I do if I employ the dove strategy? Well, I display, and what is display? Growling, hackles up, ears back, corner of the eye, staring at you, standing taunt. It goes on and on. There's so many visual displays and auditory signals that dogs emit and wolves emit to control other members in their group and to also handle a certain situation and receive or try to go after and invoke a certain response and a certain outcome. Growling is displaying, and it's a atonal frequency. Atonal frequencies are low frequencies. That is a growl. That is a snarl. That is a deep bark. And what does it mean? Stay away. Don't approach. So if you hear a dog growling, especially your own dog, and it goes, "Rrr," do me a favor. Freeze right there for a second, and then immediately, slowly back away. I don't care what you feel at that moment. I don't care if you're frustrated. Growling is an atonal signal. Tonal signals are high frequency. T-O-N-A-L, high frequency, whimpering, whining. That is approach me. Approach me. I want you. Come over here. But anything that is low, like that growl, back off. Do not approach. So that's what a growl is. It is a signal. Why growl? The only reason why a dog or a wolf will ever growl is because they are trying to defend something of value. And that something of value can be food, it can be a mate, it can be the very territory in which I stand. But in many cases, it's defending me from you. So in other words, I perceive you as a threat. And because I'm growling, I feel like I have limited options at this moment. Or I'm experimenting. Hey, why not? Okay, so I've got this great food right here. And I know you didn't mean for me to have this Hershey bar, but here you come anyway, and you're acting like you're going to take it from me. Well, I might as well just go for it. Just what the heck here. I looked over my shoulder, and it looks like I can flee if my display fails me. So I might as well give it a good old college try. I'll growl. A lot of dogs have growled at me. And then they found out, well, that didn't quite work. The growl didn't work because I continued at that moment to stand there and observe the situation, and I backed out of it, and I learned from it. And take that advice. You know, I always say pick battles big enough to matter, small enough to win. I write about that in my book, The Hammer, Why Dogs Attack Us and How to Prevent It. Read that book. It's a common sense approach to owning your dog so that we don't over-anthropomorphize it. We don't put all these human qualities into it when we shouldn't at that moment. This is an animal with fang and claw given certain processes, certain instincts, certain behaviors that have worked for this species for millennia. And they're certainly going to try it if they're defending something or if they feel like they're defending themselves. And why would I growl versus attack right off the bat? Because any contact is risky. It's risky. When you want to reach out and touch someone, you want to bite someone, that's risky. You never know what the outcome will be. And in a nanosecond, you're doing a whole lot of assessing. What are my fighting skills compared to your fighting skills? What weapons do I have compared to what weapons you have? Have I won a lot by growling? Have I not won a lot by growling? Yeah, a lot of this factors into whether your dog will choose to growl at you or not. But just keep in mind, atonal display, low frequency display. You may get other visual components to go with it, but it's an auditory atonal, which means do not approach. So therefore, if you push it, what's going to happen? You push that approach. You want to push it anyway. Well, your dog warned you. And more than likely, only one of two outcomes will occur. As soon as you step into what's called the critical zone. Keep in mind, remember, all dogs have two zones around them. They're invisible, but they're very real. And you're the same way. You have a threat zone and you have what's called a critical zone. A threat zone is where you perceive a threat. Yeah, it may not be a threat that is going to kill you, but a threat to take away what you own. It could be a perceived opponent, not necessarily something that's going to attack me and try to harm me just for harm's sake. No, it's a threat zone and a critical zone. In the threat zone, we display. In the critical zone, we either use the hawk, we attack, either full-on attack or inhibited attack, or we flee. Now, back your dog into the corner of a kitchen counter, kitchen cabinet, in a foyer, on a leash, up against the sofa. Depends on where you put the food bowl. Maybe you fed the dog this time in the crate. Maybe you fed the dog this time in the laundry room. And flee is gone. So just do the math, guys. Here's your math right here. I can either attack, inhibit attack, or I can continue to display. When you push the issue, display doesn't work, so go ahead and get rid of that. I can't flee because I'm in the stinking laundry room. So therefore, that's all you've got left. And I guarantee you, that's all you have left. All right, so how do you deal with this? Because again, I own dogs. I've owned many dogs, and I've trained thousands and thousands of dogs. How do we deal with a dog growling in our household? Okay, here you go. You have one of two choices, and that's all you have. Again, I'm going to make this super simple for you guys today. You can either avoid it altogether. So what does avoidance look like? Increase the distance. So your dog is growling, back out to that threat zone, go away from the dog, ease out of that situation. The dog will be more comfortable. Distance is safety. It's always safety. The further you're away from me, the more likely I'm going to survive the outcome of this encounter. I'm going to be able to keep what it is I'm trying to protect. Distance. Then when you do that, breathe. Breathe for a second. Just breathe. Calm down. Get down out of your arousal column. Assess the situation. Okay, so my dog's growling at me. All right, maybe my dog doesn't love me as much as I thought he did. No, I'm just kidding. No, assess the situation like a scientist. Step outside the bubble of emotion. Remember, what did you see and hear? What story did you tell yourself? Watch out for that story. My dog doesn't like me. My dog prefers my husband over me. Be careful of the story you tell yourself. And then go ahead and check those emotions as a human. How does it make me feel? I'm afraid, man. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. What action are you going to take now? What are you going to take? Or if you're in avoidance, then here's what you do. First of all, tidy up. Tidy up a little bit. What is it? Is it a shoe? Is it a shoe that the dog is wanting to attack you, bite you over? Did it place that much value on it? Is it that Hershey bar? What is it? Tidy up your house, just like you have a toddler, because that's, in essence, that's what a lot of dogs are. They're just toddlers when it comes to that frontal cortex. Remember that from the last live video? That's really what they are. They're very impulsive. They go after things. And then when they go after things, they're going to perform a behavior. Not the behavior that you taught them necessarily in the very beginning, especially if it's been untrained. It's whatever instinct they have. So I'm trying to guard this darn thing. Tidy up a little bit. Teach leave it. Leave it. I can't own a dog without leave it, neither should you. Leave it is this. They don't have it in their mouth yet. You see, you've learned, you go, you know what? My kids are really sloppy, and they drop these Hershey bars all over the darn house. And the last time my dog had a Hershey bar, it growled at me. And it looked like it wasn't to attack me. So now all of a sudden you see another Hershey bar on the floor. Your dogs approach it. Leave it. And mean it. Leave it. And mean it. I've done many videos on how to train leave it. Go watch those videos. Okay, whenever you train leave it, just know this. Anytime you tell your dog to do anything, stop right then. In a nanosecond, ask yourself 2 questions. If you were the dog, the same 2 questions your dog would ask you. What is it that you want me to do? Always be very clear about that. Leave it. Don't you touch that. Quit approaching that now. And why should I do it? Okay, well, you can only bargain so many times. So many trainers will tell you, here, just offer up another treat. Offer up something better than what it is they're approaching. Okay, that may work one time, may work twice. It's not going to work all the time. So therefore, if you want something to work all the time, there needs to be some incentive to not approach that. And that's what I am going to correct. If you continue to approach it, I'm going to correct it. How am I going to correct it? Again, there's many ways to correct the dog. There are many ways to give motivation outside the form of just praise or trying to bargain. There's ways to say, okay, if you continue on towards that treat, this ain't going to work out well for you. Just so you know. An animal learns that. They're smart animals. They do it to one another. That's how they teach one another. So why can't we use the same thing? So you tell them, give them a leash correction. I love a remote collar, honestly. That's how I train Captain. You've seen Captain videos. If I tell him out or leave it, he's done. I mean, it's an instinct. And that's what you need to do. You need to train it like an instinct. So you need to be in a position to be able to apply a correction. But again, I've done extensive videos on remote collar training. I'll be glad to continue to do those just so you understand how to use it correctly. All about natural pairing and intended pairing. Animals always go through natural pairing first and then to intended pairing. Make sure you check out those videos. And if you're one of our virtual members in our group, check out the advanced video series where I talk about it in great detail, how to use it properly. But this allows you to not have to approach the dog. You see the dog clear across the yard. You see the dog all the way on the other side of your living room. They're approaching something like the Hershey bar. You go, leave it. And they look at you and go, dude, look, you're way over there and Hershey bar's right here. And you go, leave it. Okay, I'm leaving it. I'm good to go. Thank you. Thank you. Well done. So now my leave it comes with a little bit of weight. And again, you get that done with a long line or whatever. And when the dog does leave it, by golly, give the dog a reward. Say, hey, buddy, there you go. That's what I'm looking for right there. Animals weigh everything, learn everything from a contrast. Contrasting events. What's the benefit here? The benefit for me at first was the Hershey bar. But now the benefit is leave the Hershey bar alone. Then I get a real benefit. Because that thing came with too much cost. Anytime the cost exceeds the benefit, the behavior will not continue. Among dogs. It does among humans. We're very unique in that way. But not among dogs. So what's the other way that you can do this? If you can't avoid it by teaching leave it, you haven't worked on leave it, or you don't want to tidy up your house, you really are not one of these people to allow your dog to growl at you, don't feel like backing away, then you're only left with intervention. You must intervene. And how do you intervene? Number one, teach out or drop it. Teach it. teach it. In fact, I was doing a video, and a lot of people commented on that particular video. I was showing how to teach out to a different dog, and Captain was in the background, and I said, out to this other dog, and Captain's in the background going, dude, I don't have anything. There's nothing in my mouth. It's an instinct. Because I've done it over and over and over again. You can do it with their toy. A ball, out, drop the ball. Tell you what, you drop it, I'm going to throw it again. Tug of war, out, let go of the other end of the darn rope over here. Out, get that out of your mouth. Animals learn through free exploration and mimicry. They see you eating something, they want to eat that something. Even if you're not eating something, they're going to explore and see if they can eat it. And it's not all going to be good for them. All you got to do is do it like me. I own a vet hospital for 25 years. You'll find out real quick what's not good for them. Teach out. I wouldn't own a dog without leave it. And I wouldn't own a dog without out or drop it. You teach those to your dog. And again, the best tool for teaching all of those, I start with the long line. I always start with the long line. Always. Why? Distance. Hey, you, let go of that over there. I mean, I can touch you even from here. And then I slowly but surely, with most dogs, not all dogs, but some of those who are going, I really want this a lot, and you're way over there, and I really feel like I can take you in this situation. Okay, well, yeah, you might be able to. You're a big dog. However, I carry a little stick called a remote here. Leave it. Drop it. Now. And I can set it so low you wouldn't feel that on your eyeball, and I can guarantee I can turn it up to a level in which you'll go, okay, I'm going to at least think about this for a second here, and that's all I need. And I'll change that moment there. Okay, guys, so just a short review. You know, in the question here, the commenter and the person in the group asking questions said, since aggression escalates, it would be more advisable to nip it in the bud before it does. There's not a one-time deal. Aggression always escalates as needed, meaning before the growl, you probably got a stare. The dog probably tensed up its muscles. The ears probably went back a little bit. The tail probably went down a little. Maybe shifted a little bit to the left if I'm afraid. Shifted a little bit to the right if I'm not afraid. In other words, I do use ritualized aggression. We do as humans. You can tell someone, hey, excuse me, can you get out of my space here a little bit, Ben? You're getting a little bit too close to me. They keep coming. I mean it. Don't approach me anymore. That's it. Get your hands off of me. We escalate. They escalate. Welcome to living in a group, to a group living animal. So escalation, it's not going to nip it in the bud. It nipped it in that context, at that moment. So again, I addressed the cause. What is the cause? Remember, it's something I'm trying to defend. It's either I'm defending myself or I'm defending something I determined was valuable and worth trying to at least keep it. And that's what growling is. It can be an experiment. And it can definitely be a warning. So don't push the issue. Okay, and then it says, backing off in the face of a warning growl seems like a bad idea that would teach the dog to use this behavior as a go-to and could cause real compliance problems of all kinds of situations. Well, it's only going to cause it in the situation of I'm defending myself or defending something else. It's not going to affect heel. It's not going to affect come when call. It's not going to affect laying down or staying. However, you start correcting dogs and they don't know why they're being corrected, and it will affect everything. Everything. You hear me? You have no right to correct a dog unless it understands why it's being corrected, or it's an absolute emergency, meaning the dog is about to swallow an entire bottle of Ambien. Yeah, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that out. I'm not going to risk my own life if you're a 100-pound gigantic dog. No, I'm not going to wade into that thing. I kind of value me a little bit more than you. I'm just going to be sorry about that, but it's the truth. Because I got people who depend on me, not just myself. I got other family members who count on Bryan every day. But after that, if I do have the opportunity to correct you, I'm going to. I'm going to get that out of your mouth, and then I'm going to step back and go, okay, so that happened. So how can it not happen again? And if it does happen again, what can I do? Learn, people, learn. Okay, so that's the end of it. Growl is a display mechanism. Dogs only have so many options to acquire something or to defend something. Either use the hawk strategy, attack, full-on attack, or inhibited attack, or use the dove strategy. That's where we either display or we flee. When one fails and one's not available, do the math. You're down to 2 options here. It is the absolute truth. A tonal means stay away from me. It does not mean approach me. Stay away from me. What do you need to do? You need to teach out or drop it, and you need to teach leave it. And those will keep you out of most situations with your dog, by far. And of course, if you do obedience with your dog, general obedience, he'll sit down and stay. Just the very fact that you are controlling them multiple times throughout the day does elevate your status, which means when the animal does that real quick assessment of itself, self-assessment, and you, before we get into a fight here, yeah, that's kind of taken into account. Yeah, Bryan kind of controls me a lot here. I'm kind of thinking him, compared to that 6-year-old over there, I might get away with that Hershey bar with that 6-year-old. I'm not so sure I'm going to get away with Bryan. But again, doesn't mean your dog's not going to try a growl. And then they're going to learn from it. Okay, that didn't work. Or it did work. So yes, it can repeat itself, and it can be a go-to tool, but just don't allow it to become a go-to tool. By learning why did you growl, and learn what to do with it when your dog does, by using what I just told you to do. Okay, guys, that's it. I just want to answer that in a short video. If you have any other questions, of course, send them out there. Sometimes I'll write my answer. Other times I'll just shoot videos. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Never ignore a growl. And even if you correct one growl, it doesn't mean you're going to correct all growls. There's many reasons why a dog could growl. No different than you. Many reasons why you could yell at somebody. All right, I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day and be safe.